So next was the operation of the management system, and there we differentiated between different tasks. You can see on the left-hand side, like process modeling, conformity check, and we called it other tasks because they were so small in some cases that it was hard to really define. And again, on the left-hand side, this is the Lufthansa Technik example. We are more or less highly specified in the different areas. We have specialists for process modeling. That's a role that we are using. That's the person who invites the people to map the process in the system, who moderates the modeling sessions, and so on. We have qualified requirement managers. They are responsible for the conformity check. So they check if all the normative and legislative requirements are fulfilled in the processes. And we have some smaller roles that are responsible for different tasks, like the system, not the system operator, the so-called decentral operator who makes sure that the employees are trained for the management system and the processes are described by the process owner in their area of responsibility.
Yeah, in other cases, we had a company where, or at least a few companies that did not divide responsibility, but combined responsibilities here in one person, quite often called the quality manager. And in those cases, he or she would be responsible for both the definition of the processes and also for making sure that they comply with the applicable regulations, for example. We had one case where responsibility was assigned depending on the level of, and the range, I should say, on the range of applicability, where in one case a process could be applicable globally, and in other instances they would also only have local applicability, and the corresponding roles would be the global administrator and the local administrator.
Yeah, but as you can see, when looking onto the naming, it's an administrator, and this is more or less more IT-based approach.
Yes.
So this could be one target of the company, or based on the targets of the company. Another naming we had was the Integrated Management System Manager. So obviously their focus is on this integrated management system approach. And the last one is simply called process consultant, who is doing the modeling, checking conformity, as well as doing process trainings and so on. And I think the focus of that company is more on continuous improvement,
Definitely,
for example. Yeah. And I guess probably this operations team is not assigned to quality management compared to the other one where it's the quality manager. I think it's because of the history that they are doing process management out of the quality management department. Okay, and then finally, the last big question we discussed, and we are still looking for the right answers, and this is more or less a picture to describe our current understanding of the problem, was how to connect processes and structure. What we discussed until now was more focused on the processes, and we have never talked about the structure, but looking onto the history of the different companies, there is always a structure of the company in place, and now the big challenge is how to connect these. And as you can see on this picture, what we are using at LHT are two different role definitions. One is the process owner, and we already talked about that. He has or she has the functional responsibility to design the process. And on the other hand, we have the so-called organization responsible, and this role is responsible for leading the people. So that's the disciplinary responsibility towards the employee. So as long as both roles are held by one person, so in personal union, the situation is quite easy. The person is responsible for leading the people, and on the other hand, makes functional definitions of the process, and that's quite simple. But it gets more and more complicated as soon as both roles are splitted and held by two different persons. Michael, can you give an example or go into more detail?
Well, it's the problem is quite common, at least in our organization, where you would have various organization responsibles sort of donating roles into processes, and you have no connection between the organizational unit of the process owner and the organizational units donating or supplying roles into the process of the process owner. And the only way so far that we have identified to solve the problem is use the hierarchy in case of problems.
Yeah.
You somehow have to address the problem to your superior, and then, as it's shown in the slide here, the problem has to be discussed in the different levels of the hierarchy, and then has to be readdressed to the organization responsible donating a role into a process. That's the way we deal with the problem of the separated responsibilities, both on the functional side and the disciplinary side.
Yeah, but I think this picture is about a year old, a little bit older, and this is our current status about this problem or about this challenge. And we discussed it within the workshop, and we would like to address this question to you as well. So if there is anybody out there who thinks he or she has experience with this situation or with this challenge, please feel free to send us an email or to comment on the video or comment on the blog post. We would like to get in contact to exchange the experience and to improve how this connection of structure and processes could be handled. So these were the topics we discussed. Key findings, the roles that we need to operate the processes, but only from the process point of view, and the roles that we need to operate the system in the background, and finally the nice question how to connect processes and structure. I think that's it, or?
Yeah, the last one being one of the last unsolved mysteries of process management, it seems.
Yeah, and please don't forget to subscribe to our blog to receive updates about new video posts and to receive information about the upcoming conference that we are planning for this year. That we would like to discuss these topics in more detail and facilitate networking and so on. So please stay tuned and have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.